According to the National Electrical Code, specifically Section 410.44a, low-bay luminaires must be permanently connected to the branch circuit. However, Section 410.44b does provide an exception, allowing for a cord and plug connection under certain conditions. These conditions are: firstly, the luminaire must be equipped with an internal disconnect switch that disconnects the luminaire from the power source when the plug is removed. Secondly, the cord length is limited to a maximum of 6 feet. Thirdly, the cord must be terminated with a male plug cap. If a cord and plug is not used, the luminaire must be directly mounted or otherwise permanently connected to the ceiling or wall. Daisy chaining of luminaires is not permitted. Each luminaire must be individually connected to the branch circuit. When a cord and plug is used, a single receptacle is required for each luminaire. This receptacle must be located within 6 feet of the luminaire. To reiterate the code requirements for low bay lighting, firstly, permanent connection to the branch circuit is generally required. Secondly, a cord and plug connection is permitted only if the luminaire has an internal disconnect, the cord is 6 feet or less, and it terminates in a male plug. Thirdly, direct mounting or permanent connection is necessary if no cord and plug is used. Fourthly, daisy chaining is prohibited. Fifthly, single receptacles are mandated when using cord and plug connections. These guidelines ensure safe and compliant low bay lighting installations. Let's delve a little deeper into the specific aspects of these requirements. The permanent connection mandated by Section 410.44 emphasizes a secure and reliable power supply to the luminaire. This reduces the risk of accidental disconnections and ensures continuous operation. The allowance for cord and plug connections under Section 410.44b provides flexibility in installation, particularly in situations where relocation or maintenance may be necessary. However, the stipulations accompanying this allowance are crucial for safety. The internal disconnect switch is a vital safety feature, preventing electrical hazards during plug removal by isolating the luminaire from the power source. The 6-foot cord length restriction minimizes the risk of tripping hazards and ensures that the connection remains within a manageable distance. The requirement for a male plug cap ensures proper polarity in grounding, further enhancing safety. When a cord and plug connection is not employed, the code mandates direct mounting or permanent connection to the ceiling or wall. This ensures a stable and secure installation, preventing the luminaire from becoming dislodged or posing a safety risk. The prohibition of daisy chaining is a critical safety measure, preventing overloading of the branch circuit and reducing the risk of fire or electrical hazards. Each luminaire must have its own dedicated connection to the branch circuit, ensuring that the load is properly distributed and the circuit is not compromised. The requirement for a single receptacle when using a cord and plug connection ensures that each luminaire has a dedicated power source and prevents the use of multiple luminaires on a single receptacle, which could overload the circuit. The proximity requirement of 6 feet for the receptacle further enhances safety by minimizing the length of the cord and reducing the risk of tripping hazards. In summary, the code requirements for low bay lighting prioritize safety and reliability, balancing the need for flexibility with the need for secure and compliant installations. Adherence to these guidelines ensures that low bay lighting systems operate safely and effectively. Now let's talk about each section in more detail. First, we'll address 410.44a. This section emphasizes the importance of a permanent electrical connection. A permanent connection implies that the luminaire is directly wired into the building's electrical system, usually via a junction box. This type of connection is more secure than a plug and cord, as it is less likely to be accidentally disconnected or damaged. This is especially important in industrial or commercial environments where lighting is critical for safety and productivity. Next, we'll dive into 410.44b, which permits the use of a cord and plug connection, provided certain conditions are met. The first condition is the presence of an internal disconnect switch. This switch serves as a safety mechanism, allowing the luminaire to be easily disconnected from the power source during maintenance or repairs. It also prevents electrical shock hazards when the plug is removed from the receptacle. The second condition is the maximum cord length of 6 feet. This restriction is in place to minimize the risk of tripping hazards and to prevent the cord from being overloaded. A shorter cord also reduces the voltage drop, which can affect the performance of the luminaire. The third condition is the use of a male plug cap. A male plug cap is designed to fit into a receptacle and provide a secure electrical connection. It also has built-in safety features, such as grounding pins, that help to prevent electrical shock hazards. The code also addresses what happens when no cord and plug is used. In this case, the luminaire must be directly mounted or permanently connected to the ceiling or wall. This is typically done using screws, bolts, or other fasteners. A direct mount or permanent connection ensures that the luminaire is securely attached to the building's structure and will not fall or become dislodged. Another important aspect of the code is the prohibition of daisy chaining. Daisy chaining is the practice of connecting multiple luminaires together in a series using a single power source. This is generally not permitted because it can overload the branch circuit and create a fire hazard. Each luminaire must be individually connected to the branch circuit using its own separate wiring and overcurrent protection. Finally, the code addresses the use of single receptacles. Where cord and plug is used, a single receptacle is required for each luminaire. This means that each luminaire must have its own dedicated receptacle, which is not shared with any other equipment or appliances. The receptacle must also be located within 6 feet of the luminaire to prevent the use of extension cords. Let's explore the implications of each of these rules. The requirement for a permanent connection in 410.44 means that the luminaire must be wired directly into the building's electrical system. This typically involves running conduit from the branch circuit to a junction box near the luminaire, and then connecting the luminaire's wiring to the branch circuit wiring inside the junction box. This type of connection requires the skills of a qualified electrician and must be done in accordance with all applicable codes and regulations. The allowance for cord and plug connections in 410.44b provides more flexibility in terms of installation and maintenance. A cord and plug connection allows the luminaire to be easily disconnected from the power source, which can be useful for cleaning, repairs, or replacement. However, it is important to ensure that the cord and plug are properly sized for the load and that the internal disconnect switch is functioning correctly. The 6-foot cord length restriction is in place to prevent tripping hazards and to minimize the risk of voltage drop. If a longer cord is needed, it may be necessary to use a larger gauge wire to compensate for the voltage drop. The requirement for a male plug cap ensures that the luminaire is properly grounded, which is essential for preventing electrical shock hazards. The grounding pin and the plug cap must be connected to the grounding conductor in the branch circuit. The code's emphasis on direct mounting or permanent connection when no cord and plug is used means that the luminaire must be securely attached to the building's structure. This is typically done using screws, bolts, or other fasteners that are appropriate for the type of ceiling or wall material. The luminaire should be mounted in a location where it will not be subject to vibration or impact, and where it will not obstruct access to other equipment or appliances. The prohibition of daisy chaining is a critical safety measure that helps to prevent overloading of the branch circuit. When multiple luminaires are connected in a series, the current flowing through the circuit can exceed the ampacity of the wiring, which can lead to overheating and a fire. Each luminaire must be individually connected to the branch circuit using its own separate wiring and overcurrent protection. The requirement for single receptacles ensures that each luminaire has its own dedicated power source, which prevents overloading of the receptacle and reduces the risk of electrical hazards. The receptacle should be located within 6 feet of the luminaire to prevent the use of extension cords, which can also create tripping hazards and voltage drop. In summary, the code requirements for low bay lighting are designed to ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system. By following these requirements, you can help to prevent electrical shock hazards, fire hazards, and other safety problems. Remember to always consult with a qualified electrician before installing or modifying any electrical equipment or wiring. And let's not forget about the importance of understanding the relevant terminology. A luminaire is simply a complete lighting unit, including the lamp, reflector, lens, and housing. A branch circuit is a circuit that extends from the panel board to the final overcurrent device protecting the circuit. A receptacle is a contact device installed at the outlet for the connection of an attachment plug. Overcurrent protection is a device, such as a circuit breaker or fuse, that protects the circuit from excessive current. Ampacity is the current in amperes that a conductor can carry continuously under the conditions of use without exceeding its temperature rating. Voltage drop is the decrease in voltage along a conductor due to the impedance of the conductor and the current flowing through it. Grounding is the connection of a circuit or equipment to the earth, which provides a path for fault current to flow and helps to prevent electrical shock hazard. By understanding these terms, you will be better equipped to interpret and apply the code requirements for low bay lighting. Now, let's address some common questions that arise when working with low bay lighting. Firstly, can I use flexible metal conduit to connect the luminaire to the branch circuit? The answer is yes, flexible metal conduit is permitted, provided it is properly sized and installed in accordance with the code. Secondly, can I use a dimmer switch to control the brightness of the luminaire? The answer is yes, a dimmer switch can be used, provided it is compatible with the type of lamp used in the luminaire and is properly rated for the load. Thirdly, can I install the luminaire in a damp or wet location? The answer is yes, but only if the luminaire is specifically listed for use in damp or wet locations. These luminaires are designed to withstand moisture and corrosion. Fourthly, can I install the luminaire in a hazardous location? The answer is yes, but only if the luminaire is specifically listed for use in hazardous locations. These luminaires are designed to prevent ignition of flammable gases or vapors. Fifthly, how often should I inspect and maintain the luminaire? The answer is that the luminaire should be inspected and maintained on a regular basis in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions and any applicable codes or regulations. This includes cleaning the luminaire, replacing lamps, and checking for any signs of damage or deterioration. Remember, safety is paramount when working with electrical equipment. Always follow the code requirements and consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns. With proper planning, installation, and maintenance, you can ensure that your low bay lighting system is safe, reliable, and energy efficient. Now let's explore some practical considerations for implementing these code requirements. When planning a low bay lighting installation, it's important to consider the specific needs of the space. This includes factors such as the size and shape of the space, the type of work being performed, and the desired level of illumination. Once you have a clear understanding of the requirements, you can select the appropriate luminaires and determine the optimal layout. When selecting luminaires, it's important to choose models that are listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory such as Underwriters Laboratories or Intertek. This ensures that the luminaires have been tested and certified to meet safety standards. You should also consider the energy efficiency of the luminaires, as this can have a significant impact on your operating costs. When installing the luminaires, it's important to follow the manufacturer's instructions and all applicable codes and regulations. This includes properly sizing the wiring, providing adequate overcurrent protection, and ensuring that the luminaires are securely mounted. You should also pay attention to the grounding requirements, as this is essential for preventing electrical shock hazards. After the installation is complete, it's important to test the system to ensure that it is functioning properly. This includes verifying that the luminaires are providing the desired level of illumination and that there are no electrical problems. You should also perform a visual inspection to check for any signs of damage or deterioration. In addition to the code requirements, there are also a number of industry best practices that can help to improve the safety and performance of your low bay lighting system. Firstly, use energy-efficient lamps, such as LED or fluorescent lamps, to reduce your energy consumption and operating costs. Secondly, install occupancy sensors to automatically turn off the lights when the space is unoccupied. Thirdly, use daylight harvesting controls to adjust the brightness of the lights based on the amount of natural light available. Fourthly, implement a regular maintenance program to keep your lighting system in good working order. Fifthly, provide adequate training for employees on the safe operation and maintenance of the lighting system. By following these best practices, you can create a low bay lighting system that is safe, efficient, and reliable. And now to recap. Low bay luminaires should be wired directly into the building's electrical system, or they can be connected to power via cord and plug only under certain circumstances. If using a cord and plug, it must have an internal disconnect switch. Also, if using a cord and plug, the cord must be no more than 6 feet long and it must terminate with a male plug cap. Daisy chaining is not allowed for low bay lights. For each low bay light that utilizes a cord and plug, a single receptacle is required.